Hello and welcome to another episode of New Game Plus. I'm your host Jason as always, and while a lot of the Japanese games have fled into the new Japanese financial year, maybe to take a couple of losses in the old financial year, there's still a lot of great games out, and we've got coverage of them. We have Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is going to be a lot of fun. Donald brings us a bit of a prototype gaming news quiz. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we also have Journey to the Savage Planet. So there's still a lot of great little games coming out in this period. It's not exactly Japanese Christmas like we usually do, but it's kind of Christmas to Electric Boogaloo. There's still some alright stuff coming out, but for now, something completely different.
Hello and welcome to Fireside Reviews. I'm your host Liam, and today I'm here to talk about. Wait, I've just seen the monitor. We're missing something. Quick, go to camera 2. That's it. It's the rug that ties the room together. You can't normally see it, but I always bring it out. Back to number 1. Now, Sonic the Hedgehog has just come out, and Dermy, New Game Plus's very own Dermy, has sort of raved about it on social media. He is a massive Sonic fanboy. I've seen the film, and I didn't love it. It's gotten 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is fair, if not a bit generous. It's enjoyable, but not great. Jim Carrey overacts. The film's music swells to sort of highlight the emotional connection between the characters that the film has not earned. So here is a couple of films that are better than Sonic. First up, we have The Muppets, which really sort of paid homage to the original shows and the original movies, while also sort of bringing them into the new era, new characters, some great songs as well. Fantastic Mr. Fox was Wes Anderson's animated Roald Dahl adventure that's dysfunctional family, while still sort of a dysfunctional family into a kid's film that works really well. If we're going into nerd territory, we go into Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It is pitched a little older, but it's still a great family film, and also the best Spider-Man film we've had to date, I would say. But when I talk about great kids or great family films, I cannot go past Paddington and Paddington 2. When Paddington 2 came out, people on social media were sort of raving about it. I'm like, why do people like it so much? I watched the original on Netflix, really enjoyed it. It's a really charming and fun film with characters I really enjoyed. The second one, even better. Great supporting cast. And also, Hugh Grant was robbed of an Oscar for this. He should have got Best Supporting. So watch those instead.
Now Jack gets a little fabulous with a review of Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
So when we first heard about a Persona 5 follow-up, this was before Persona 5, it was actually called Royal or Scramble, we were like, oh cool, there's a Persona 5 game coming to Switch. That means we might actually be able to get through and finish the game for all of the half-ass weebs out there. And particularly after Persona 3 Portable on PSP and Persona 4 Golden on Vita basically meant we could take those massive RPGs on the go with this and actually finish them. That's kind of what everyone was expecting, and when it wasn't that, we were like, can we get Persona 5 Golden? A Persona 5 game on the go. Enter Tokyo Mirage Sessions. This is not quite a Persona game, but basically a Persona game. But it wasn't really marketed appropriately, I feel. You are, instead of being a high school student, you are an idol. And so you have this sort of like group of friends, they're not high school students, they're in this like sort of talent agency situation, they're training to become better idols. So that way you can have the idol part of the game affect the dungeon part of the game. And so, look, I have not played a whole lot of the game, gonna be real. I am the half-assed weeb that I'm talking about. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get Matt and Jason to please God help me a little bit more with this.
Shit. Yes, so apparently Jack's just decided that he wants to get Matt to help him do the review. So here's Matt and Jack. Hello.
We're gonna confiscate that goddamn thing from you.
It's fine. It doesn't matter.
I will say I am absolutely a half-assed weeb because I have not put anywhere near as much time as I thought I should into this review, which is why I was like, Matt, please help. Because the first impressions are very much like, yeah, it's got those Persona vibes, you're not a high school kid, you still kind of dress like a high school kid, a little bit weird.
Idol culture in one.
Yeah, look, that's a different discussion. But I feel like, we were talking about this earlier, and on the portable screen, it looks phenomenal.
Yes. So, admittedly, I have played most of it in TV mode, and it does look like a bit of a dog's dinner. The icons are a little bit kind of pixelated. Definitely not the native resolution, but playing it in handheld mode, I'm like, this definitely feels like a game that deserves to be played on handheld mode and nothing else.
It really, like, it makes the best of, being able to play it on the go, because it definitely feels kind of traditional in some ways. You don't have full camera control. You kind of have those like pre-baked camera angles. You can't really save everywhere as well. It feels a little bit restrictive in that way. But because the Switch, you can just like chuck it on sleep and then done.
It's got to be said that was something you hinted at that I think is it really does change some of the ways I think about what system I'm going to buy certain games on. There's certain games that I'll go, cool, I want to sit at home. That's an Xbox game, even if it's on all platforms or whatever. I know I want to sit down and dedicate time
Love
to
Game
it.
Pass.
But I mean, you know, like you mentioned, Persona 4 Golden. I mean, it was the saving grace for the Vita. It probably kept the Vita afloat in.
It says so much about the Vita library.
And like,
I think
that's
everyone-
100% Sony's fault. Like, let's be real.
I was gonna say everyone collectively within the world had Persona 4 Golden in their Vita like game slot collectively simultaneously at once, and there was harmony, peace in the world.
All 7 of them.
All 7 of them. Yeah.
All 8 Vita owners in the world.
Yeah, all 8 Vita owners.
I mean, look, Vita got to the point where it made its Vita Lite version or whatever they want to call it, the Gen 2.
And it came in bright red and blue.
Yeah.
I'll get one day.
Wait,
Yeah.
it did?
It came in like 6 different colors, dude. Yeah.
That was a joke because Vita has no games or owners. So.
But
One for
as we
each
know,
owner.
the Switch has become the Vita surrogate, but it's also like the realization of the Wii U. And I think that is what we're seeing now. I mean, Toad Tracker, Tin Megami Sensei, like there's a bunch of Switch games that are being ported over, and people go like, "Oh, but that seems lame." I'm like, "Does it though? Like, it seems fine to me because
it was a game like SMT Tokyo Mirage Sessions was a game that came out relatively late within the Wii U's lifespan.
absolutely.
Came out, wasn't marketed properly. Nobody gave an absolute stuff. So
Well,
for
no
it to
one
get,
knew that they should. I think that's more the point.
for everyone, so the fact that they gave this a second life on the Switch and the fact that it suits so well for the Switch's strengths is even far more phenomenal because it is a game that deserves a lot more. I mean, hell, this game came out after Xenoblade Chronicles Cross, and you know it was still even a hard sell for a lot of people back then. So
and I guess that's the thing. And you got Toad Tracker, Jack, so you're happy with the world. But I guess like,
is that some sort of
what?
fetish
That's Captain Toad.
Oh,
How dare you talk trash about my baby? Honestly, still one of my favorite games on Switch. I love it so much. But there are a bunch of other games on Wii U that haven't made the jump over. Like One for 101, we're in the middle of a Kickstarter as of filming to see that come to Switch.
Yeah.
To my understanding,
But I think it's also
blown
PS4 and
past it.
stuff, isn't it? Well, I mean, the target was like $1 or something, and they just like
It was like a few 10 grand or something,
Yeah,
and they're like
yeah.
"Pfft, millions.
Yeah,
so like,
the
cool.
3 weeks after they get the 10-cent announcement of funding, it was 100% the gauge. It was like,
So, like, that's making the jump. I think that Wind Waker absolutely should, because Wind Waker is, of all of the sort of like Skyward Sword and prior games, Wind Waker was the one that sort of did the middle ground. It wasn't so like leading you by the nose like Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword were, but it wasn't so limited by the hardware like Ocarina was. And so I think Wind Waker should, and if you're going to have Wind Waker, bring across Twilight Princess, because those nerds, as bad a taste they have in Zelda games, they will want that there as well.
I would say the one that I haven't played, and I'm not huge on Zelda games to begin with, so let's clear that up.
Yeah.
But like the one I haven't played is Skyward Sword, and I think now that you actually have motion controls, your excuse is gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, but we have to
Switch
find a way
Motion
to,
Plus?
Yeah, we have to
was
find a
very
way to transfer
one-to-one,
over
though,
all
yeah.
of the motion controls. Well, no, you don't. You just tell people you have to play it like this, and it's fine. You know what I mean? Like,
Sit back on the couch, man
and
spread.
get the waggle going.
fine, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, and I guess that's Wii, but yes. I mean, is there any other thing that either you could think that you would like to see the jump from Wii U to Switch? I mean, you've mentioned a few, but Matt, is there anything you think would be worth the jump?
I'm going to get a lot of detractors. So the first one, even though it's not the best game out there, I would still love to see Project Zero Maiden of Black Water.
Yeah, right.
I just love the fact that the gyro sensor works incredibly well, and doing that on a train is bound to get you beat up. Not for man spreading, but for Switch spreading. That sounds
Hashtag Switch
really
spreading.
dirty. Do not look into it. Do not Google
Yeah,
it,
don't
please.
Google that.
For the love
That's
of
some Rule
God.
34 shit right there.
Yeah, that is some
yikes.
proper Rule 34 shit.
No thanks.
But I'd also like to see if there's any remakes. I mean, we're continuing the trend of Link's Awakening and stuff like that. I would love to see a remake of either Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, or the Minish Cap. All the Capcom developed Zelda games, which were
Oh, the Minish
effing
Cap.
I
amazing.
still have them on my 3DS. They're sitting there on my 3DS, and when I'm bored, I break it out. I play Yokai, and I'll play them. That's
Let's get some
basically it.
proper remakes going,
Yeah.
because I would love to see those games. Not as many people played them back in the day, especially Minish Cap, because it came out at the end of the Game Boy Advance's lifespan.
yeah.
So again, continue that trend of Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Let's get some trending happening. Hashtag Minish Cap remake.
Hashtag Switch spreading.
Don't.
I gotta
Hashtag
say,
Switch- yeah,
mine
don't,
would be
don't.
mine would be a Pikmin compilation, especially with three players, like have like online thing. I
alright.
think that would be the one that I'd like to see. But apparently they're making a Pikmin 4, so I'll settle for a Pikmin 4. Anyway, whatever, doesn't matter. Thank you guys, and I guess that's what you get when you try and be fabulous and you're only a half-assed weeb.
Welcome to a brand new segment on New Game Plus. A lot of gaming news happens around the world, especially during the past couple of months of summer holiday. And we might as well try and condense into, let's say, a 7-8 minute segment, why not? So I decided to get some friends along and quiz them on the various news stories that happened during the summer break. So I welcome Hope, Jamie, and Jason to the stage. How are you all?
Sleeping.
Here.
It's better than doing it with Gerard, that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things you can say that are better without Gerard.
Well, that's a bit... Okay.
How competitive are you all feeling this evening?
Not really.
I am an awful tryhard.
What if I introduce this trophy as a
Oh,
potential
you mean
prize?
my trophy? Yeah, thank you.
That is a very sad. That makes me just bawling out tears looking
Yeah,
at
do
it,
it,
mate.
because then you won't play as well.
I'll draw blood.
We've got vampire.
One piece is a very good number.
Sweet, yeah. I'm
So-
shooing.
so anyway-
Cope just passes out for blood loss.
So our contestants will be playing for this very sad trophy as a prize if they answer the most questions, which I have in my hand. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. Question the first. Dragon Ball FighterZ will be adding Ultra Instinct Goku to its roster. When he is added, how many Gokus will there be in that game?
Jamie.
Jamie?
Well, okay. So are we counting individual Gokus? Or are we also counting half Goku?
Listen to your heart.
Well, let's see. We have. I actually did the math on this a while ago. I'm hoping I get this right. I want to say it's close to around 7 or so. I think it's 6 individual Gokus and half a Goku each.
Hold on a second. You did the math on this. Did you
We
see
did-
the
our Discord,
question?
We did the monster math,
Let's
yes.
just say I've not been working a lot lately, so I get very bored.
Yeah, our Discord is dumb.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the dumb shit
It
we
is
talk
dumb,
about.
and you are very much correct, Jamie. There are 6 Gokus in that game, and if you count Gogeta
Vegeta and Gogeta.
and Vegito as half a Goku each, that is 7 Gokus, which is way too many Gokus for that game.
It is way too many Gokus, and they'll probably find a way to add one more Goku in the next year or two.
Like, I wonder who, because they've covered nearly everyone except for Dragon Ball, and they fucking hate Dragon Ball.
Yardrat Goku.
Oh my god.
I played let's talk about Dragon Ball.
Gold Goku, Tata Control Goku, Extra Minty Goku.
9 out of 10
Naked
Gokus
Goku,
recommended.
Demon Goku, Venom Goku.
What about Hawaiian shirt Goku?
I play it.
That's DLC, that's $50. They're going dead or alive territory there. Question 2. What is the reward that unlocks at the 110,000 yen tier on the Wonderful 101 Remastered Kickstarter campaign?
Hope.
Hope.
That is, he will block you on Twitter.
Who will block you on Twitter?
What's his name? The lovely man who blocks people.
The
on
bald
Twitter.
asshole himself. Wait.
I was like,
Congratulations.
dun, dun, dun.
Congratulations, you didn't even have to pay 110,000 yen to get blocked by Hideki Kamiya.
That's the one.
I will
Coming
still
up.
give you that point though, Hope, because you got most of the way there. Although that campaign is more than most of the way there.
And
is.
it's optional. He won't block you if you ask him not to.
And what's the point though?
I mean, you just want to do it organically. All you have to say is anything, and he'll block you. So it's fine. Like, he actually hasn't blocked me. I'm surprised, because I've said a few things to him, and I just haven't been
You're trying hard enough, Jason.
That's true.
Question 3. Name all the games that were delayed in that 1 week in January.
Oh, Jamie.
Jamie?
Final Fantasy VII.
Yes.
The remake, obviously. Marvel's Avengers. Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes.
And
It's one more.
I'm just trying to think what the
One
last
more.
one is. Can I get a hint?
No?
Nope.
Someone come in for the steal?
Go on, please. It's probably not that cool. It really probably isn't
How
that
about
cool.
we get a hint?
No.
Fairy Tale?
No.
That was recent. No.
That
Can't
was a
think of
March,
anything.
that was
Like you
February
listed
delay,
all
not
the
a
ones that
January
I knew
delay.
that got delayed. What's
This question is really dying, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's almost
I know the
I could
Animal
enlighten you 2 or 3.
Hold on, that one has never had a date though. We can't really count that.
Yeah, but that was
Yeah,
delayed
they did
in
delay.
Dying Light
January.
2.
Dying Light 2 is correct, but none of you get that point because
Dynamite.
He's tough.
I'm not a fair quizmaster.
It was better when I was writing this.
Question
He
4.
wrote this.
Which game had to remind its players that it is a game and, quote, not a scientific model in the light of recent
Hope.
global events? Hope.
It is Parasite.
I'm gonna.
No, Jason for the steal?
Plague Inc.
Plague Inc. is correct.
Parasite's the Korean movie.
No, I know. I'm like, I know exactly the game. I'm not good at the names of things.
Meanwhile, yeah.
I know what happened. Just if you ask me specific details, like I know I
A
do.
thing happened at a time and a day, and that's what I know.
Well, in that case, you get the point. No. Although I'm still waiting for the official statement from Trauma Center and Surgeon Simulator.
Hey,
before
one of
I-
those things is dead and we can't get it back.
Which,
Surgeon Simulator.
that's why you send it to a trauma center or a surgeon center.
Yeah.
Damn it. Shut up.
As at recording, which game has the title of being the lowest user-rated game on Metacritic?
That is AI, the Somnium Files. and that is because people on the Twitters are very sad.
Reset error, but close enough.
Well, reset error as well. And it turns out it's some like conspiracy from a guy who's like, I want to show you how bad Metacritic is. And so like review bombs it, like what the fuck, man? Like, good way to show it. Like, oh, I mean, like we're not a bad guy, but we're just gonna punch some grandmas. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Unfortunately, you're wrong.
is it?
Jamie, Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Warcraft 3
Oh my
Reforged.
God, you guys suck.
Enjoy that.
We said game though, not Blizzard game.
Aw.
I don't like Blizzard. I have to break that thing out. Are you alright to carry on home? Or yeah.
Do we need to give you a sympathy point?
Blood lost to
No.
Blizzard.
Speaking of Blizzard, which game producer recently joined Blizzard to work on Diablo 4?
Oh, yeah, I got that one. That's
Jason?
Rod Ferguson from Gears, I think.
Yeah, Rod Ferguson, indeed, who is going from the Coalition, the Gears
Yeah.
developers, over to
It's
Blizzard.
and it's funny too because Cliffy B's now like, oh, would you guys want me working back on Gears? No, fuck
No,
off.
he gave
like,
us Hades Town the musical, and I am happy with that. Thank you very much.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's a producer.
he's a
He
producer on
funded
Hades
it.
Town.
He also
I
recently.
don't like Hades Town anymore.
Well, there goes our Broadway audience. Goodbye.
He said Lawbreakers failed because he was too progressive.
No,
I
right?
played that game.
God.
That was
So
not that progressive.
I'm going to take away a point from Cliff Blazinski on that one.
Take away 2 points, please.
I make it free to play.
Yeah. Atari announced in January that it is expanding into which industry? That'd be a Jason.
That would be hotels, but not love hotels like
Oh, I
Nintendo.
saw this, yeah.
No, they're not like Nintendo, who was actually in the love hotel industry at one
true.
point or another. But yes, Atari will be entering the hotel
Do
industry.
you know that
Yes.
Atari make an official gaming hat?
Yes,
I
That comes
heard.
with speakers inside that you can link with other hats.
Atari is a very weird company.
what the response is to that.
So what you're saying is, well, I'm getting you one for your birthday, right?
Oh, sick. Yeah, I'm sick.
Yeah, it's a
gamer
perfect
vibes, bro.
progression. Christmases, birthdays, weddings, yeah.
Oh,
Funerals.
Although I have
weddings,
to
parties, anything.
yeah, I have to highlight this actual quote here and as part of the announcement of the hotel. Quote, let's face it, how cool will it be to stay inside an Atari?
Unironically, how cool.
That's a question. How cool
All
will it
game
be?
consoles just like full of cockroaches.
I mean, depends how long you leave it out, I guess.
I believe I'll give Hope the bonus point there.
Cockroaches.
That's a bonus point.
Yeah, she had the question right. That's exactly how cool it would be to stay inside of an Atari.
Alright, fair enough.
Which company confirmed it will not be attending this year's E3? Speaking of dying entities.
Jamie.
Jamie?
Sony.
Sony,
Wasn't that
is
before?
correct.
But this is Sony again confirming they're not coming to E3.
They double
Real.
confirmed.
You know,
That's
because
not
it's not like
January
they,
news.
you know, it's not like they've got a console coming out this year or anything. You know.
They don't need it anymore.
I mean, we all know they're going to shit the bed this gen. Like, we've covered this,
That's
haven't we?
yeah, yeah,
That's a
that-
different
that-
discussion.
No, we're not having.
Jeff
Say
Keighley
that for your
today
podcast,
announced that he
please.
isn't coming to E3 either.
No, yeah, like there is no Keeley, there is no Sony. I think they
So
need
what
a
is E3?
third.
Well,
I think we're going to a third. Who's going to be the third?
No Mountain Dew, and then we're completely dead.
And then it's just E, it's not E3 anymore.
yeah, it's true.
No, there's another person that is good for Ian. No. Speaking of E, Sega Europe announced that in future physical PC releases, they will all feature what?
Jamie.
Jamie?
Recyclable packaging.
Congratulations. Yes.
He gets no point because he couldn't say it.
I speak quickly.
Recycled patching.
Yeah, they did it last year for Football Manager, I believe.
Yeah.
They wanted to bring that going forward.
And they'll
That's a
do it
good
for every year.
initiative.
And they're also pleased to announce that Sonic will feature 100% recycled gaming content.
Dun, 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 dun.
And finally, a Pennsylvania RuneScape player lost a lawsuit against its developer Jagex after he claimed what?
He didn't get his party hat? Like, what?
No. Jason, Jamie, either you want to give this a go?
There's a thing I want to say here, but it's not good for television.
Oh, I mean, it's fine. You can say it.
I don't wanna
We'll
say it.
cancel you afterwards on Twitter. It's fine.
Okay, Jason-
I'm
Jason?
going to say that he's going to blame them for time lost because he was playing their stupid game or something like that. Just because why not guess?
Close. He said that by muting his account, the developers of RuneScape
Censorship.
had violated his free speech and human rights.
Jesus Christ! And oh my God.
Video games are great, aren't they?
But then
That's
again, games
beautiful.
shouldn't be political. I've heard that somewhere recently. I can't remember where.
That's for a different news quiz segment. But at the end of this one, Hope, you have ended up on 2 points. Jason, you have ended up on 2 points. Jamie, you are the winner of the sad trophy with 4 points today.
I've only been reading One Piece lately. I don't want to look at this. It's just going to make me cry.
Then I'll take it back.
Do you want
No,
to read
what?
it?
Screw you.
Do you want to read it? What does it say on it?
I'm not looking at it. I'm not going to do it because I
There's
read
a-
that panel recently. I'm going to cry.
Tears of victory, Jamie. Tears of victory. Thank you very much. Hope Jamie and Jason for joining us on, and thank you, audience, for joining us on this news quiz segment. We hope to see you next time when there's hopefully some more good news.
Now, one of the games that snuck up on me this year was Journey to the Savage Planet, and it's a hard one to really categorize because it's trying to do a couple of things, and it does them well enough. It's got a little bit of the humor of things like Outer Worlds, like a world of capitalism, libertarianism gone mad, where you're working for a company to colonize all these different planets, and so your ship lands on this particular world. You get out, like you try and explore, and you create things as you go. So you're basically colonizing the world, but it doesn't have any ongoing like crafting in any meaningful way or anything like that. But what it does have is basic crafting. So, gadgets, inventions, those kind of silly little things. But it is like one self-contained world. Realistically, there is like the where you start in the map, you can see the end of the map. You can see basically the last part, and it's just about going through all the different things, discovering the next MacGuffin, discovering the next, like all these different things to get to the point that you need to be. So it's a little bit Metroidy because you have to scan stuff and then you get like a laser tether and all this. So it tries to do the Metroid Prime thing as well, but then it's not even doing that the same way that Metroid Prime does. And then you add on to that the kind of the rudimentary combat and the silly, I wouldn't say they're necessarily physics puzzles, but some of the things they expect you to do kind of have that kind of sort of silliness to them. And in and of itself, it is a good little self-contained experience. And probably the nicest thing that I could say about the game is that I enjoyed the time I spent with it. It's not inherently something that's going to stand out. It's not something that I'm going to remember going forward, or it doesn't quite hit the comedic highs of Outer Worlds, or even have the kind of the nuance of the characters. Though that said, I still think Outer Worlds was nowhere near Fallout New Vegas on that front. But I think what it does solidly. And I wonder if in today's world that is enough. I guess the one thing that really decides whether that's enough is whether you're paying full price for it or not. And it sounds awful to discuss art in the lens of how much you paid for it, but I think it's a relevant discussion. So I figured I'd bring Matt and Donald on to discuss exactly that. And I guess the main thing to keep in mind with Journey to the Savage Planet is it is not a full price title. It's a half price title. You don't pay the full amount for it. So therefore, is it okay to expect less out of it?
Like it seems like a product of a bygone era where we used to have before everything became stratified to a hyper-specific demographic. We had the B game, like that long lost genre of game that you sort of like discovered.
The Switch has brought back for my money.
Yeah, and a genre that the Steam has sort of helped cultivate just a little bit. But like back, say, even in the Xbox 360 generation, you had games that weren't quite full price and weren't quite full AAA production values, but still were good products in and of themselves. I think explicitly of that shooting game where you travel backwards and forwards in time, Singularity.
The
Singularity
Activision one,
yes.
Singularity. Yeah. So that was a great game, but it wasn't full price yet.
Yeah, and like that was like the ideal sort of B game, and it sounds like Journey to the Savage Planet. It kind of fits that bill quite nicely.
Yeah, it is. And I know, Matt, you discussed the idea of picking it up and playing it, and I don't want to dissuade you, but like, did I? Like, I worry that maybe because you can play it co-op, and I can see how it could be fun co-op, but by me saying, that it's not a fully fleshed out experience, you're not going to get your thing, like, has that really discouraged your thought process on it, or is it, yeah?
I think I guess it kind of sets expectations for the player. They'll look at this game and go, oh, it's only X amount, it's only half price compared to a fully fledged AAA game. I'll go back to play. I'm a huge fan at the moment of B games, or what's known as AA games at the moment, where you have a lot of these games like that fall in that niche of, Japanese games, French games, a lot of games that are being developed in Europe that aren't particularly AAA, but not enough to necessitate indie game prices. I mean, I remember the time we were spending absurd amounts of money on buying games like Braid because there was nothing like it on the market at that point. But because of its saturation and things like that, there are avenues where you have to cut the price down a little bit to make games that feel more like. I feel that Journey to the Savage Planet feels more like a passion project and made by, ex-Assassin's Creed developers where they're actually making a game they want to make. And I think that's probably a more attractive price point. But I'm waiting for the sequel, Journey to the Savage Garden.
Well, they fly to the moon and back at that one. But I guess you do bring up a really good point regarding pricing. And I think that's something that I've learned, particularly on the Switch lately, is that there's kind of 4 layers of pricing. There's sub $7. There's over $7 but less than $15. There's more than $15 but less than $30. And then there's like $30 to kind of $60.
And there's also Breath of the Wild does not change price at all, despite being out for 3 years.
Once or
that's
twice
just
it has,
Nintendo there.
Yeah,
That's the-
and
that's
then,
the,
then there's
Nintendo
Nintendo,
tier. Yes.
which is like, yeah. And I guess the thing with that is that Nintendo always kind of keep the games at price. Some games like Splatoon, you pay once, every new gun is included, every new map rotation, all
Every
that stuff.
patch too.
Such good value, like you know. So it is that thing, but like I think that there is still that stigma attached to looking at the prices of a game to decide whether it's or what the quality is going to be like.
I'd say like we've kind of returned to the point where non-$100 games are looked at with sort of a raised eyebrow. For a minute, if an indie developer were to put their game over $10, they would be laughed out of town because there was just that period where the mixture of Xbox Live Arcade and the App Store, where every app
heyday of
is
Xbox Live Arcade,
99 cents, like that significantly devalued the worth of an indie game. So when I distinctly remember when Gone Home came out for $15, maybe it was $20 for a hour-long 90-minute walking simulator.
Yeah.
People were outraged at that pricing.
I think we also have like a bone to pick with some of the publishers as well. Some publishers kind of go a little bit over the deep end. A lot of publishers like Focus Home Interactive have that they hit that sweet spot of this isn't particularly a full-priced, full-budget game, but we're going to price it at a point where people will kind of go, you know what, I'll give this a crack. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, and I think Nintendo, the problem with them is that the Switch, everything's a little bit overpriced compared to what is on other platforms. But you're playing for the portability. I get it. But I think you're right, Don. I think there's nothing inherently wrong with being a different price, but people are starting to get a little bit more wary after all the Steam debacles and things like that.
Not to mention the what's called the massive disruptor that is free-to-play games.
Yeah.
Like it has.
Play Shadow Legends, made Shadow Legends.
Hashtag play Dauntless.
Yeah. Having said that, like I say this, and yet like people are willing to pay $15, $20 a quarter to buy into the battle passes.
Yeah.
And yet and people are more willing to accept a wider range of games. Not to mention games, as I said, are much more hyper specific nowadays. So developers can sort of raise the price to that level that's above $5 impulse buy,
They know what
but
they're gonna
below
get,
full retail, and still be happy with the transaction at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right there, Donald. And that does bring us to the end of another show. And New Game Plus is always a great value proposition. So don't forget to check out newgameplus.tv. Don't forget to go to Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at newgameplus.tv. And we will see you guys next week.